Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new week. Yes, the week starts on Sunday, so they say. Happy Sunday evening. Yanava here. Welcome, everyone. First order of business to me is always to acknowledge you, for you are my life. I mean that literally. Elwood, Carolyn Renando. Hello, Carolyn. Ames, Waverly, Darlene. Hello, Darlene. I appreciate you and all your sharing in all kinds of ways. Linda, Mary. Kelly says she needed this today. I needed this today. Chloe, Nori Love Machine. I loved your picture today, girl. Nori. Alan Lavender. Let's see who else is here. Rena. Lawrence Irby. Let's see who's here in the other way. The other way? How many ways can you show up? Gisela. Tonight, in the cave. Slave to brave. Carolyn, that actually warms my heart. Let me give you a Facebook love heart poke right now. She says, I had to take a nap to stay up this late. Thank you, Carolyn. Hello, Linda. I'm going to be having Linda Good McGillis on Center of Light Radio real soon. She's powerful. I love her. I've been watching her a couple of months. I think something squirrely happened about a month ago. Linda, I had to block you only because I thought I saw something suspicious come in my inbox. I don't know if I was mistaken, but I did not unblock you, and I saw a page, so I clicked on it. So either way, I'm glad we are back as brother and sister, cosmic lovers. Hello, all my sisters and brothers. She says, greetings. Back at you. Hello, Krista. Tonight we are going to be talking about sharing in the cave. Leave your shoes and religion at the cave entrance, because we're going in trance. That space between the entrance and going in trance. That's holy ground. Well, how is that holy ground, Keith? This is just a Facebook, social media video. Oh, dear ones, it can be much more than that if you allow it. So simply just allow it. Okay, I'm here to experience something fantastic for you. So between the idea of a beginning, which is always ignorance, ignorance is always about the beginning. Because if we are in eternal consciousness, there would never be a beginning, because it's eternal and infinite. So beginning implies a stopping point to where there's a starting point. So from that starting point to where my intention is to go is deep into the cave of spiritual samadhi. What is samadhi? That means conscious union with God, at least for this hour and a half, 2 hours that I have your attention and you have mine, and we play in the garden of Shiva, the garden of soul, as kids playing in a cosmic sandbox. That's sacred ground. It's sacred ground because it's the potential of who you are. It's the potential of what you're going to unfold unto, depending on your passion, sincerity, humility, and vulnerability to do so. Why leave your religion at the entrance? Because when you bring your religion, rights, wrongs, good, bads, dogma, what you think is real, what you think is not real, holy, blasphemous, light, dark, all of that before the presence of the absolute gets blasted away into nothing. Holy ground. It's the place where we want to become whole again. Holy ground. Am I feeling the wholeness of myself? The holiness of myself. And when you consume and engage yourself wholly, both of those, H-O-L-Y and W-H-O-L-L-Y, when you engage yourself fully, then something fully can happen. There is no other way. There is no other way. There's only one way. Well, Keith, there's only one way. There's multiple ways, but they all follow under one guise, one umbrella, one truth that's broken into multifacets. There's only one way, and it has a myriad of expressions. and they look like love. Love would be the umbrella. So let's understand what love is. It's not a mere sentiment for someone you like and think is cute and hot and you want to date them and I love you and please don't ever leave me. That's not what love is. Love is acceptance, allowance, and appreciation. The 3 A's. Acceptance. I love you. I accept you as you are. I don't have to like it. The fires in the Amazon, I don't have to like it. But I love it because it represents a purification. Notice the fire in this video. Purification. How important is fire, integral is fire to your life and to what we are dealing with on this planet? Let me show you. This is what love is. Radical transformation. If God is love, then it's about developing the love within to the level that God is. If God is love, then it's about developing the love within to the level that God is. So now that we have an understanding of what love is and the work that is required not to exist in that space, but to live and live fully. To be in that space fully, wholly, to engage. Inward is upward, upward is forward. Inward is upward, upward is forward. So it creates a momentum. It's the wheel of life. Unless you're going outward, which is downward, which is backward. But here's the magic trick. You are never not saved. Even though what you deem as moving backwards is impossible. Everything is always in progress process. As you may be moving backwards, or so you think, the wheel of life continues to move forward. You are always learning, so you're always progressing. Tonight we're talking about a silent killer. I will give everyone in this forum, I think I saw Linda Good McGillis do a share. Thank you. See everybody who's here. Anna Marie Blessing. Oh my God, what a beautiful name. Anna Marie Blessing. If I read, not if, well actually I'm not coming back. But if I ever choose again to reincarnate and I'm in the female persuasion, I want my name to be Anna Marie Blessing. What's up, Lewis? What's up, Alex Brand? I'm glad you're back, sir. Thank you. So tonight we're sharing time together in the cave of Samadhi. Samadhi. I just love the sound of that word. Samadhi. You know it has a beautiful tone to it, a beautiful connotation. It means conscious union with God, intending to be with God every day of your life. That's why all these masters go into caves, no pun intended, the forest, the wilderness, the jungle, to get away from all the noise so they can fall into that space, that holy, definite, absolute Christian, Buddhic, Hindu, love, nurturing, expansive space. So what is this silent killer? You know what? Honestly, and many of the teachers in this room presently or those in the future will agree, I'm assuming. As a spiritual teacher, spiritual teachers talk about many things. For all my spiritual broham sisters and sandwiches out there, as well as those who are on the receiving end of the love and light from those teachers, I want to save it, but I'm not going to do that. What is this silent killer that you are referring to, Keith? I'm going to make a post in the forum on purpose. This segment is called Enter the Cave. Enter the Cave. Yes, it looks like this place where Keith makes these videos. That's awesome. I'm glad you're having fun with me. That's not what it is. So what is it? Entering the cave is the potential of your greatest life. And all you have to do, not that you're not already, and if you are, fantastic, turn up the fire, is want it. I don't mean want as if I want something in the form coming from a lack disposition of platform. I'm talking about yearning, burning, and have everything that means anything inside of you churning and wanting something. I am telling you, as your brother, when you have that, fire, you have it all. Everything you can possibly want. Wanting is a good thing. It implies I want expansion. I have an intention to create beauty, joy, and expression in my life. Wanting is a beautiful thing. Don't let anyone ever kid you. It's what leads us forward. I have a thing I want. I want peace. So it brings us forward. But in order to go forward, we have to go inward, which is upward, which is forward. So what is this silent killer that no one really ever talks about? Hello, Linda. The silent killer, I've experienced it in my life, growing up in the family and the dogmatic faith I grew up in. Many of you have. Whether you grew up in this particular type of family unit or followed this particular doctrine or faith or creed, code, or sect, walk or talk is irrelevant. It's not racial. It's not bias. It's not prejudice. It's found many families of all walks of life. So what is the silent killer? The silent killer is called guilt. When's the last time you heard a teacher talk about guilt? It's been a while. What is guilt? Oh, we're going to get to that. Guilt. Think about it. Close your eyes for 15 seconds. Just close your eyes. 30 seconds, a minute, as long as you choose. And don't play the guilt card. Am I guilty of this or am I blaming someone? Just close your eyes. Fall into that beautiful space of who you actually are. And just sit there. Isn't that space beautiful? It's quiet. There's nothing in there. There's no nonsense in there. No bullshit. No monkey mind. No, I have to or I better not. No, I should or I shouldn't. It's just you in a state of samadhi with God. Sit there. Try it. Close your eyes and just do it. You feel it beginning to happen to you. And as it does, now insert the word guilt. What you think the definition of that is. How did it change you? How did it change your spin? Playing with this, or you're going to lose or win? Or do you have to begin again and again to get out of this self-induced cycle of sin? You will never win. Guilt. Well, I don't think I have guilt in my life. You sure? I'm not saying you do. I'm asking you to explore yourself so you can become the fullest possibility of what you already are. People say the light lives within you. That's true, depending on the context of how it's used in the teaching. But you're greater than that. The light does not live within you. You are the light itself. Well, that sounds the same. Think about it. They're not the same. The light doesn't live within you because that creates a rift, a separation, a tear, a rend, and what you think you are and what you are. So I am this me that has the light that lives in it. You won't win it no matter how you skin it. Doesn't work that way. It may be a phenomenal stepping stone to take you to a greater possibility. You are simply the light. How is that? When people look at you, in order to see you as a personified soul, they're taking in radiated light. Otherwise, you would be invisible and they could not see you. You are light. So this thing that we have been led to believe, sometimes beaten the shit into us, forced to believe, into submission, guilt. You should feel guilty. You broke the lamp. And that calls for an ass whipping. We'll keep them not a kid anymore. I don't go around breaking lamps because I'm just a kid throwing a football in the house when I was told not to. Are you sure about that? How many metaphorical footballs have you been throwing in your house? In your house, meaning your consciousness. Consciousness is always house. Or house is always consciousness. Guilt. It is a heavy load. Hello, Heather. Hello, Robert. Doug McMinn, Drummond Fool. Linda Chaplin. Jesse. Abigail. So tonight in the cave of Samadhi, laying down an intention to unify with God, we're going to look at what guilt is. And I'm going to nakedly expose myself of my own past and my upbringing, how that did or did not serve me. Yes, in the overall picture, it serves me and everyone because it's all self-induced. We created karma from a past experience, be it in this life or a past life or a future life. And they're all connected and it's all a beautiful unfoldment. I get all that. I'm talking about present day. How is this thing we call guilt and this low vibratory energy serving us to move further down the road of illumination? Illumination. This silent killer is guilt. Hopefully, if you have any form of guilt in your life, conscious or unconscious, I hope to God, I'm beseeching right now, that I bring that up in you. And you may think, oh my God, Keith, are you praying to God that I feel guilt? Yes. But the platform and the intention is different than trying to make you feel bad. It's to bring this thing up that many of us, all of us, sometimes overlook as to why it's never talked about, to a state of being visual. So we can honestly look at it, which is the intention of healing, so we can be done with it. Hello, Kim Gary, Steve Cobb. The intention is different. It's not an intention to bring up a fear of being reprimanded or punished in you. It's so that you can take an honest look that at the unconscious aspects of ourselves that still feel that when we do a wrong thing, that's a thing in and of itself that needs to be balanced. But to use the measurement stick of right or wrong, I might have gotten away with it because no one knows I've done it. But I know I did this said thing. But I'm okay with it. Are you sure you're okay with it? Does that dogmatic part of you, way in the back, that groove in the record, it just has a scratch, and it plays itself out like a never-ending drone in an unconscious way, it will kill you. It will bring you to an early grave in every aspect of your life that wants to be so fully alive. Welcome to the cave, from slave to brave. Yanava, conduit for spirit. I show intention every day simply to hear it and be with it and to love it and to have myself realize that it loves me to the infinite. That's what I'm talking about. Hello, John Talbot. Going to be right back. We're going to go from entrance mode to warrior mode. Notice the energy now Close your eyes and simply notice how it feels to be you. That's it. It doesn't require anything from you. Notice how it feels to be you. This is so easy and so monumental and so powerful. Carolyn, I love your beautiful question. I will get to that. She asked, how do we release guilt? Thank you for being the first. Definitely not the last. Hello, Cascade. So now that you know how you feel with this ongoing droning of the drums, an ancient awakening. It's simple. It's an awakening. Listen to the drums. And my hand automatically moves into a figure 8, infinity symbol. Thank you, Krista Huggins, for posting that symbol earlier. It's an ongoing forever dance into the fire. So now that I'm going to change the music, that fire begins to move. It becomes a bonfire, almost a conflagration, but in a good way. But yet, that fire destroys everything of the transit world that needs to be burned and burnt. It's almost like your spirit is beginning to ground itself in the form of a human body. Wow! If you listen to this music right now, it's very spiritual, obviously. Meaning in the lighter realms. It's etheric. In fact, if you close your eyes and you're truly engaged, as I am, you've even forgotten that you have a body. Have you not? You're playing in the spiritual realm simply by this understanding. Now, as a spiritual awakened being, I am aware that I am a conscious soul. I choose to incarnate upon the earth. And then you take birth. And for what it's worth, at this aspect of your life, you feel the fire begin to dance inside of you. And now you're willing to participate and to engage. And you become the warrior. This is warrior mode. You're willing to stand up and do something about that. Not only that life of yours, not that it's broken, because you're always seeking and peeking into things for your greater possibility, but to illuminate this world. The Amazon rainforest is already illuminated, but it does not have to be a conflagration that destroys. Either way, if it does destroy, it will create a new brand of human being that will always be about clean and green. It's happening. Warrior mode. Be right back. Fall into it. Get into the energy. Get primal. Get into your ancient sacred self. That's what you are. You might as well give it the program. See you shortly. Welcome, everyone. Close your eyes if you're here to truly experience something. Everyone has access.
Access granted.
Everyone has access to the Stargate. It's a Stargate. Do you believe in time travel? It's irrelevant. This place right here is a Stargate to everything. There's no cosmic web page that you cannot browse. And whatever web page you visit, spiritual cosmic web page that you visit, whatever you download will help to execute your upgrading. You can visit any cosmic site that you want. That's called spiritual liberation. Now we know why these masters are in these caves seeking God. It's not for the bells and whistles to watch a star being born or a universe being created. That's part of it. But it's about being spiritually liberated, to have everything you want. And in that space, there's nothing that you want, because you are everything that is. That's your divine birthright. Tonight, we're talking about guilt. Carolyn, I'm going to get to your beautiful question here shortly. I do want to announce that really soon, I'm going to be launching a brand new course. Power, Connection, Purpose. 6-week bust you wide open course. Diving into the fire. Online video form as you're experiencing now, but no one has access but you. 4 models for alignment. You will have immediate experience. Why immediate experience? I'm not saying there's not integral work to be done. I'm saying some people need a motivating factor to say, oh my God, this is real. I will give you that. It's going to be in a question and answer format. It requires a very small fee from you. But what it really requires is all of you. A silent killer in the cave of Samadhi, union with God. Carolyn Renando asked the question, how do we get rid of guilt? I love it. That's probably the most pertinent question someone could ask in this room tonight. You don't. You can't get rid of guilt. I'm not sure if that's how you phrased the question, but I'm using your question to allow me to go into an arena, Carolyn. So forgive me if I'm dancing around it or giving it another title that you didn't. So how do we rise above, get rid of guilt? You can't really per se get rid of guilt. You can't go, oh my God, I feel so bad, and I'm done with it. You can't do that. What we can do is transform that very guilt with our will, like we were molding clay, because we are sculptors, and simply transform it into something. And what gives us the power to be a conscious sculptor Give me a second. I'm looking for the right word. It's important to find the right word. Is wisdom. I have the wisdom to understand what I think or have thought guilt is not. So now that I have that wisdom as a conscious sculptor, my wisdom allows me to reshape, mold into something beautiful, something powerful, is my wisdom. Guilt is like a baseball bat of self-induced punishment that someone inflicts upon themselves for said deed or said not deed. I grew up Catholic. I love Catholicism. I love the fact that it's a very participatory celebration of God. It's the dogmatic nonsense that has got in the way. Act of contrition. No, excuse me, not act of contrition. Going into the confession booth. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a month since my last confession. These are my sins. Well, go into the pew and give me 50 Hail Marys and 3 Our Fathers. I get it. It makes sense to those who does not live in the guilt mentality. See, when someone, if I was to go into Catholic Church, say, you know what? I understand the Catholic Church and I understand the dogma. Okay, I get it. So I'm going to go to this whatever church and go into confession booth, not because I feel bad as to why I have to go or to release myself of this self-induced guilt. I'm going there because I understand it. And I'm saying, Father, because you are a priest and what you represent is that of the Most High, I've done these horrible things that I have an issue with. I feel haunted by my guilt. So I'm asking you as a catalyst and a representative of spirit to say, what do I need to do to have penance? You see, I get that. Without all the bullshit nonsense that makes me feel even more guilty and I compound my problem. There is a purpose for guilt. It's to reveal to us that we have been in poor choice mode. It's a self-to-self reflection. So that in contrast, we can see not only am I the this or the that via the contrast, that third something of what I actually am, which is guilt-free and guiltless, dwells. Guilt, self-guilt, and applying guilt to someone only leads, listen to this, self-guilt or applying guilt to someone only leads to hopeless, angry thoughts on both sides. You assign guilt to someone, they have hopeless, angry thoughts towards you, and we are supporting them in hopeless, angry thoughts about their life and what they are capable of, which is to be in the cave in a state of samadhi, moving ever more so towards their creator. Guilt is a silent killer. Think about what happens now. What if you were never conditioned that when a lamp, whoever you are, this is not about Carolyn, this whole talk has been about just in general. As a kid, when we broke that lamp and it hit the floor, I'm in trouble. Let the ass whipping commence. Today, anytime something breaks and it surprises us, what do? Because of that said guilt that has been instilled, we do this. Do we not? It's an engram in the mind. It's a splinter that's already saying, uh-oh, was it me that made that noise? Until you realize it wasn't me and you go, I'm off the hook. I didn't break the lamp. What if that noise from the early point of our life was like, every time this happens, start dancing. When church bells ring, you don't go, you go, the sudden spontaneous of church bells. Same thing applies. Guilt is a bat that we administer upon ourselves for what we think we have done that warrants an ass whipping or punishment or a nose in a corner, belittlement, embarrassment. I'm not good enough. So how do we move through guilt? Is by integrating everything that I just shared. It's not a real space, but the reality of what guilt can be for anyone to serve the highest purpose as to why anyone would ever feel or understand the souls being speaking to you to say, I am using. Why would the soul refer into our consciousness or infer or concur or lay into us an understanding right now I should feel guilty? Is because we understand guilt. We understand guilt. So soul says, I love you. Let me use an idea that you understand. You are in poor choice mode. And I'm telling you that you are in poor choice mode because I love you. Didn't you ask many times in your life as to why you are where you are now? That if I, soul, had something to say to you, to interject and to impose and to offer you, that you are in a situation and ask for my help through your beseeching? Well, dear one, I'm saying you are in poor choice mode, hence the guilt. But it's what we do with that inflection about our infraction guilt. It has a hold on many people deeper than they can possibly imagine. It may be unconscious. Guess what? The fact that it's unconscious says it has so much unconscious power, because if it was conscious and you were able to bring it up, inward is upward, upward is forward. When you bring it inward, you bring it upward and forward, then you have the power, the wisdom, the expert sculpturer that you are, to mold it, to shape it, to manipulate it into something else. Until then, that unconscious guilt will create a backlash of karmic self-induced punishment. A broken arm, illness, a car wreck, stubbing your toe on the furniture at night, whatever it takes. Guilt always looks for punishment. Guilt always, not only ALWAYS, ALL space WAYS, always looks for punishment. You may not consciously look for punishment, but that guilt will say, go about your day, don't worry about it, dear one, I got it covered. I'll let you know. I live it. I was raised Catholic. I'm now recovering. I loved your question, Carolyn. Let's see who's here. Let me catch up. Boy, I loved that energy, that river I went into. Hello, Shasha. Carm de Shasha. Kim Gary. Bo says, of all warriors, is you say, you haven't met Indigo yet, which is me. I am also a warrior. Bo, let me ask you a question. You're always concerned about people being in your room. You are, sir, and you know this. Why not you be in your room fully and not worry about all that? No one has to know how illumined you are. You have to know how illumined you are, sir. And when you live in that conviction of that alignment, my bro, everyone that does not belong in your room, you don't have to force them to be in your room. They naturally like your vibration, and they will begin to show up for you, sir. I believe in you, brother. I believe in you. Angela Tyner, hi. Elwood says, I feel, Elwood is being courageous. He is being vulnerable. He's exposing his core. No one, he could have sent this to me privately, but he didn't. He said, I feel guilty for not putting myself under and putting my ex-wife first. I feel like I betrayed her, even more so myself. Every time I have enjoyment, I feel even more guilty. There's nothing I could say, bro. Meaning, not, and I mean this in the best way. You've announced it yourself. Your wisdom, my brother, is in that. Reread later from a clear space, maybe do some breath. Intend to be in samadhi, in the cave. I'm in it all the way. I'm in it to win it. Win a chicken dinner. I'm going in the cave. And when you find that clear space to where you are vibrating at your highest peak, at least for a moment, open your eyes and read what you wrote. That would be your greatest teacher, my friend. Because you will go from being in such a spiritual high, ecstasy, blissful buzz to introducing this thing, this idea, which is not you at all. And you go, oh my God. Via the contrast, my phoenix will rise through the ashes. Carolyn says, guilt no more. Dear Lord. Facebook love right there. Boom. Good on you, sister. Amy Blanchard. Kim Gary says, guilt is never needed. It's all about lessons we choose to have before our soul chooses its vessel. Stand in your own dance. Ooh, I love it. Stand in your own dance, never be led only from your true self. She says, Yana ba. Back at you. Bo says, be silent on the spiritual path. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. My brother Robert says, anger is easier to accept than feeling guilty for others' thoughtlessness. Bo says, I think silence is a form of guilt. I love psychology. It can be a form of guilt, sir. Absolutely. But silence can be a beautiful thing. It can be an entrance into the cave of samadhi. Bo, I love that you're studying psychology, bro. That's awesome. Kim says, meaning I am my own warrior. Let's turn up the warrior drums. I am my own warrior, not meant for comparing, of course you don't, to anyone. It's about my powerful spirit, not here to judge, of course. Carolyn says, I would rather connect with Source than think about some nonsense. That was my added thing on the end. And Bo says, how can people do their spiritual work if people ignore them? I would like to know your thoughts. Bo, I love it. I love that you actually allowed yourself to be vulnerable. I'm going to tell you how, bro. How can you do your spiritual work if others ignore you? That's a beautiful question. And that deserves an answer. Because no one can deny, Bo, your passion and sincerity to want to be vulnerable, which is visible. 4 components, bro. And I want you to hear this. Hear this. Because I'm answering your question. Passion, you have it. You want it so much so as to why you're on fire every day to say, nobody's listening to me. I love it. You're sincere because you're so passionate about this very thing. And you're exposing yourself in vulnerability right now in front of these people and people to come in the future to ask yourself and make yourself tender. Let me give you something, my bro. The other component out of the 4, you are not yet, until now, have been offered, which is humility. Yes, I want to teach others. Bo, I went through this myself. Where you are, my cosmic brother, is perfect. You are in perfect placement. But now I want to launch you into a perfect spacement. Spaceman. I went through that. Alright, so Keith and I are relating. We're connecting. I went through that, bro. Bo, my cosmic bro, Bo, yo. That's not your concern. Your humility is your concern. I'm simply here to be of service, not to be of lip service, which I still contend with, bro, Bo. It's not about you being of lip service. It's about you simply being of service that comes off of your lips as you are humble. You can never force a square pill into the round pie hole of other people's mouth. You cannot do it. They will check out. So when you go into your feeds and also you post in your memes and say, nobody gets me, and you insult them, that will never work for you, my friend. Never. What I believe in you, support and trust that you will do, is you will find yourself in a state of samadhi, catching yourself when you want to go into that arena. I'm going to follow this instruction. That which is inside of me that creates a structure. Instruction. I am instruction. I am in construction, not deconstruction. I don't want to tear anything down. I want to build something up. And I have to start with myself. That says, you don't have to invite anyone, Bo. Just bring forth a presentation, the present of you, which is a gift. That's why they call it a present. And moths will attract you just like the light. That's what they'll do, bro. That's what they'll do. That's what they'll do. Hello, Anna Yoga. Bo, use that, bro. Bo, I will talk with you as often as you like. Follow my role, my model, bro. Bo, watch what happens. I want this for you. I want this from you. Actually, I don't want anything from anybody, but between Bo and I, this is, everybody else close your ears. La, 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 la. Bo, I want this from you. You have passion, sir. Now put it to good use. As you know you can. And as I know you can. What's up, Nicola Jane Walton? Hello, D Pounders. Sellers. Good to see you. Gene Babin, my brother. Cindy Aldridge says, Cindy says, wow, Keith, them words. I love words. I'm a wordsmith. I am a word craftsman. Words are everything. Bo, use that, bro. And, don't worry about what people think that I gave you a lesson, so to speak. See it as a lesson in love. Because I love you. See it that way and go, oh my God, this new venture for me starts right now. Tomorrow. In fact, get off of here right now. Sign off. Sign the fuck off. Fall into a state of samadhi. Breathe. Breathe in the fire of God. And say, I'm perfect, whole, and complete. I am simply perfect, whole, and complete. And let that God breath of fire illuminate you and bring you into that space. And do a presentation and watch what happens. You don't have to worry about their feedback, which you will probably get different feedback as long as you stay in the cave. When you move from slave to brave, you will find yourself watching your own playback from a space of, I wish everybody would too. Wow, what a presentation I just laid down. Get out of here, Bo. Go do your thing. The idea is that when you lay down a presentation that you can be proud of, you will watch your presentation. I watch every one of my presentations back, provided I can. It's because I'm full of myself. I'm self-full. I watch them so I can learn as a student. Because when I fall into this space, I'm not always present. In fact, 5 minutes from now, I probably won't remember that I said, I'm not always present. So I learn, and I tighten my craft, and I learn, and I become a better sculptor, and I learn, and I realize this was a little harsh. And sometimes I also realize that may have been harsh, but it was delivered with a powerful intention, so that whatever I mention brings a person into themselves. Because some people need volume. Take what I'm offering, Bo, by the volumes. And do your thing. Let your light out without a doubt. Don't worry what other people shout. That is not your importance. Bo, you PM me. This is about you. Lincoln, my bro, ham sandwich. Bo says the only person that's giving me advice is, I'm thinking he's saying me and Israel. Israel's phenomenal. I love him. Namaste, Leanne L. Dotson. So we're going to talk a little more shortly about guilt. I was raised Catholic in South Louisiana. Nothing against Catholicism in South Louisiana. But that consciousness does live there. And I was raised in it. In fact, I wasn't raised in it. I existed in it. My brother Gene Babin says, Keith, he used to, listen to this, talk about a nickname. He used to call me Meat, M-E-A-T, Meat, which is a short version of potted meat. Why did he call me potted meat? Maybe Gene, he'd say, what's up, Meat? Bo says, I have to admit to myself that no one will understand my energy. That's exactly what I want you to get out of, bro. Bo, don't do that. No one will understand my energy. That's putting yourself up. Don't do that to yourself. Okay, now that you said it, you're done with it. No one will understand my energy. Okay, so maybe many people won't understand your energy. You're done with that. What's up, Brett Walker? Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Brett Walker. Happy birthday to you. Nicola says, love is all we have and who we are as a being. I love you too, bro. He says bye-bye. He's going to do his live, and I'm going to come watch you. Not to criticize you, scrutinize you, but so I can be a part of your energy. If you want to know how I think, whether that matters or not, maybe I can offer you some love nuggets because I do care. Send me a text tomorrow. We'll have a dialogue. We'll get you loose. All right, bro? Ricky Vito, the V's in house, says, you're leaking spirit. It's awesome. I'm leaking it. Love me some Rick. My brother Rick Vito has brought his beautiful daughter home. Lillian Moon, I am so ecstatic for you, bro. That touches my heart. Rick says, you are the scraps that taste like good ribeye steak. Cindy Aldridge says, I was raised with no affiliation. I think it was a good thing. God bless you. Ironically, I was not raised in a religious affiliation. Ironically, God bless you. Guilt is heavy, y'all. It's heavy. Let me share this with you. I'm betting, it comes off the top of my head, off of my tongue. If you have, do now, or plan to do so in the future, if you whip your child or have and not resolved your guilt, if you whip a child's ass, you are harboring guilt. How is that possible? Because whipping anything implies that you have wronged and therefore you need to be punished, as to why I am not over my own guilt infliction from my past, as to why I think this is the way of things. If you believe in punishment, corporal punishment, I'm not saying that the people who commit crimes don't need to be incarcerated for this or that, but it's about rehabilitation, not incarceration for a punishment. So how do we move through guilt? We understand that there is no victim, no villain. In so doing, we understand divine karmic law, that everything has happened to anyone via karmic law. But the fact that it moved through you to be the one to administer that law or guilt-ridden punishment says that the vessel of whoever you are has work to do until you begin to understand that you were simply a vessel for karmic law. Hello, Kelly Bauman. Hello, Pri. Rick Vito says you talked about potted meat. Hey, CE, CE, It's made out of, I got it. It's made out of scraps, but the way you structured your spirit, you take all the scraps and make it into a ribeye. How poetic was that? You use this strange little analogy and you made it into a poetry, Rick, that was multi-dimensionally layered. In fact, you caught the synchronicity, and as the sculpturer, you fashioned it into this thing to kick back to me, this love nugget. Keith, I mentioned this. You take scraps of meat, and then Gene so happened to show up and say, called me potted meat. Rick says you talked about potted meat. It's made from scraps. That is alignment. That is freaking alignment, dude. No joke. Don't oversee that. Don't overlook that. Basically, rather, that is an alignment. You took something that happened between Gene, what I said, what you said, and you took those three components and you wove it into a story that made a rib eye point. Rib eye. We were made from the rib of Adam, and now I can see. You see all the fun we just had? That's living guilt-free. In fact, you don't think about it anymore. In fact, it didn't even exist until we engaged that monkey. Guilt always looks for punishment. Lincoln says, "What's up, meat suit?" So now Lincoln gets involved. Cindy says, "I agree. Do not believe in corporal punishment." Kelly says, "Wow, wow, mind blowing." So you see, we just all have this synchronistic spin of fun into the cave where everything is possible. Gene said something, I said something, Rick said something, I said something again, Lincoln said something, and they all became this other something. And all those somethings came about by all of us going into this place together that brought us all to a rib, Adam, rib, I moment. It sounds crazy. It sounds like I'm making pieces fit. I'm not making pieces fit. These meat pieces, they all just came together into a sausage. When you have this kind of connection with other people and all things and other people around you, and you fall into the cave of yourself, these kinds of meat pies, if you will, happen. It could be about your loved ones. It could be about getting a message from your angelic guides about a direction you're moving into your life. This is truly the language of light. That this one thing can have so many facets of itself, it becomes fragmented into what we would call humanity. The one presence, the one absolution, the one light, God, the cosmic soul, that fragments itself into all these little mirror reflections. As they look upon themselves, they create a myriad of possibilities. All this wordplay we just had. Lincoln says, like a pizza with everything. So two Buddhist monks go to a pizza parlor. He says, "You want something? I'm going to have a pizza." He says, "Yeah, make me one with everything." So we can keep going on into the cave. Lincoln says, "Yes, Keith, you're analyzing our connections. I do this all the time, and I'm enjoying your spin on it." Kim Gary says, "That's why we all meet, M-E-A-T, together in the caveman connection." See, everybody's just jacking around. Pepper jack on your pizza. And it just happens because we're having fun. And Kelly says, "I had a ball of energy hit me today. Never felt anything like it before. It was strange, Keith. I felt rushed. I told myself it's going to be okay. I held her parakeet, her cockatiel, Cinnamon, and it helped me calm down. But I felt lightheaded most of the day." Find yourself in the lightheadedness, and the spin will still happen, but you'll be planted. And now, possibly, Kelly, for you, you'll be living in a lighter nature. in the fluff, in the airy fairiness of it all while you're grounded. Could be another dimension opening up for you. Your bird would be representative of the calmness of that other dimension. A bird represents flight. Awesome. Robert says, it is an ill wind that blows no minds. The Rush song. An ill will comes and rising above the city, across the cities and the plains. There's no singing in, no swimming in the acid water or dancing in the acid rain. Red alert, red alert. Lincoln says, in support of Kelly, butterflies in the stomach, lightheaded. That's leveling up. Lincoln, I thought about you all day today and last night. Hello, Cindy Owens. Last night, hello, Athena. Robert says a mug of beer and a hot dog is a Frankenstein. Last night, Lincoln, I had a dream lucid experience of a board game that I am going to create, hopefully, via a word you use in this forum, and you use it often, but the first time I'm guessing that I saw you use it was about 3 weeks to a month ago. And my dream lucid experience that I'm going to create a board game is called Level Up. You came to my mind when I woke up immediately this morning, sir. The board game is called Level Up, and I know exactly how it's going to be played, and I know exactly what I need to do to make this a board game. Check this out. Not a B-O-A-R-D board game, but a B-O-R-E-D board game. Level Up. Kaboom. Kelly says, I have been in really bad pain all over today. I do have fibromyalgia, but this time I told myself I'm not going to let this pain rule over me. Dear lady, tell me what happened for you. You were here the other night when I gave you this love nugget. You had fibromyalgia a few weeks ago and a few weeks before that and maybe a few days ago. But today you said something to yourself different. How was your fibromyalgia episode for you today that you became into a state of consciousness? Yes, I'm not saying it didn't feel that it hurt or painful. Did it change your dynamic, sweetheart? I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me it did. As to why you're talking about it. She said, she has fibromyalgia. She says, I had it today. But today I did something different. I said it's not going to rule me. What's up, Peggy C. Franks? Cindy Aldridge says, we are initially products of our environment. If one does not have access
granted.
If one does not have access to a different perspective, they do not know. Period. Anybody does what they know. Once new information is presented and it resonates and learned, feeling guilty for actions prior to this change is not your fault. Now you know. Now you do different. Forgive yourself with love and compassion and be grateful that this new perspective was presented to you and that you have adopted it. It's beautiful. Hello, Peggy. She gets a Facebook love poke. Kim Gary says we have a board game here in the UK called Level Up. Kim Gary, are you serious? Kim Gary, if you are serious, I swear to you, if you are serious, send me 3 exclamation points. I don't have to prove myself to you. I did not know of this. I had a lucid dream experience this morning. I was going to create a board game, B-O-R-E-D, called Level Up. Kelly says, yes, my mind's eye got tried and feeling this pain, it was going to take over me, and it's still there, but I'm so grounded and at peace. You use this, Kelly, every day, and I promise you, your fibromyalgia won't be like every day you wake up and go, oh my God, I'm going to have an episode today. You're going to be like, I am so okay with myself that, oh my God, Kim, this is nuts. I did not know this. I did not know that there is a board game, B-O-A-R-D, but in England they spell it B-O-R-E-D, as in I'm bored, game called Level Up. I had this experience last night to create this board game, B-O-R-E-D, and I know exactly how it's going to be played, and it's going to be played as touch sensory. Wow, Kim, wow. I am going to research that in a little while, and I'm... Wow. I am now humbled. I am humbled. Kim, Gary, Elwood, Darlene, Ricky Vito, Lincoln, Peggy, Cindy, Kelly, Lewis, Kelly, Linda, Athena, Pri, Krista, Robert. Tonight we have been playing with the wet, sticky, dark, muddy clay called guilt. I'm supposed to live with guilt because it shows me that I am a sinner and I need to beg for forgiveness. Hello, Christine. Humility is a beautiful thing. When humility becomes a self-induced guilt bat, Jesus, Spirit never punishes you that way. Spirit is unconditionally loving, waiting for you, me, us, we, to see that for ourselves so we can release ourselves from the self-induced guilt. We need to take Jesus down from that old rugged cross. That lamb has been crucified 2,000 plus years ago. It's no longer necessary. Do you think if you had a conversation with the Christ himself, you think he wants to talk about the cross? I don't think so. If the lamb was sacrificed 2,000 years ago, there's nothing you can do to exclude you from the kingdom, because you are always in the kingdom, no matter how many people you've killed. What keeps said person from the kingdom is the self-induced guilt that can be purposeful until they become an illumined conscious being. And most often, it takes many upon many upon many incarnations to be able to get back to the conscious dwelling of being in the kingdom. I don't write the rules nor the laws. I'm telling you the spiritual law and the law of physics of what it takes to be in the unified field, as science calls it, or as spiritualists call it, God. The unified field where all energy and information comes together. If God is that space in the cave of Samadhi, if God is the space of where all energy, even the guilt energy, because it knows everything, of where all energy and information comes together, you are already in the unified field. It's just not serving you to your highest purpose. Because if God wanted to get rid of you because of your guilt and the things you've done, you would be eradicated and could not exist. Your existence, even in your guilt concept, does not threaten the existence of God. So it has no need to ever do away with you. Guilt, jealousy, insecurity, these are such petty human conditions. I know people, including myself, who have gotten over these human qualities. And if I'm human and I've gotten through this experience, what do we think Creator is? But we often liken Creator like ourselves, but a gazillion times more so. We think that when we believe in a judgmental God, then everyone who does something wrong needs to be punished. You can never escape from that truth. Ever. When we believe God will not provide, there's no abundance in my life, We believe that I am so disconnected from my Father, there's no way I can ever gain abundance. No matter what you think, it is always a reflection of the God you believe in. So if you believe in punishing someone, and you believe that a God would do the same thing to you whenever you sin, that is the law. Your belief helps you to paint your own painting, your own picture of how you think things should be. Well, you did this to me. Come over here, my child, your own child, that you would inflict physical pain by pulling down their pants and spanking their ass with a leather belt. Dear Lord, what kind of God do you believe in? Maybe you don't believe that way anymore. Maybe you don't act out that way anymore. But I'm asking you, because I love you, brother and sister, to explore within yourself that aspect of your own unconsciousness, the rust and the dust that has a residual possible hold on you. Because this is truly a part of a dissipation, so you can move greater into the graduation and elation of your spiritual graduation, which is your conscious liberation. It is a silent killer. Guilt. Close your eyes tonight and go into the cave of yourself and say, do I feel guilty in levels I'm not even aware of? About things I've done or shouldn't have done? When I should have told my loved one before they pass, or that's something I shouldn't have told my loved one before they pass, or what I should have done and shouldn't have done. Guilt is a silent killer. Guilt always looks for punishment. When you broke your arm, when you got sick, a car wreck, your house burnt, I'm not saying this is the only variable of guilt. I'm saying you can bet your sweet bippy that guilt has played a very important role in any of the karmic backlash that ever comes to you. In fact, if anything was to incite or excite the negative bell that has a crack in it, what is the American bell that we call it? The Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell in you has a crack in it. America, the land of the free, of all opportunity. The Liberty Bell that is representative of the ringing of the bell in heaven that represents all liberation spiritually has a crack in it. Does your Liberty Bell have a crack in it? You can bet that everything has cracked itself open up in your head, in your life, is infused with an enormous guilt. Karma, you can bet, has been impregnated with the seed of a tremendous guilt. Well, I don't think I deserve punishment because I did this thing. Check yourself. I check myself constantly. Guilt, it is a silent killer. It will find its way in your life and say, don't you remember me? You've been looking to be punished by this thing that you unconsciously feel bad about. Hi, I am here to present myself. I hope you understand. Stand under something in your understanding that represents something in your highest good, and move into that current. And that current will take you into a space of love, of loving yourself. And no longer will you find yourself standing next to the silent killer that wants to chop your head off. That grim reaper that wants to kill you, snuff you out every time you set yourself into the state of spiritual samadhi. Keith, every time I fall inside of myself when I try to pray to Jesus, God, or whatever it is I do, I feel guilty. And when you do, you dial the phone number of 1-800-666-6666. You saying, "Dear Lord, because I've done something so wrong, I need to be punished." And God says, through its unconditional love, "I love you so much. Here's a whole bunch of that." I'm not saying that you should do bad things and feel no remorse, have no conscience about it. I'm talking about your past, of what has been said and done. And in gleaning such wisdom, you know now to never do again. That's called the stage or the age of accountability. I'm accountable. I'm accountable. Now I can count my blessings. And I'm able to do that, which is raising my worth, my currency, my praise of myself, and my Maker, who I no longer believe in as a God of punishment that is going to whip my ass. And I need to now do the same to my children and hold them accountable in punishment and strike the back of their legs with a leather belt. What are you doing? If you ever have, do, or will do to your children. If you're doing that to your kids, you're doing that to yourself. And you can expect there will be a return to the same lesson. Don't do that. Live in blessing. It's about forgiveness. It's about giving something toward yourself and other people. Carrying the torch of enlightenment and consciousness is a lot lighter than carrying the burden of ignorance, pain, and fear. Be right back. Welcome back to Center of Light Healing, the cave. I call this gig, this setup. I do this passionately. You show up passionately, and passionately together, we all move to someplace else. I'm sorry to tell you, happy to tell you, Because we are sharing time here now, we are never going to be apart. Never. You may move to another part of the world where there's no internet. We will never be apart. Nothing can ever undo this beautiful unfoldment that we have. Going to fall inside. Cindy says, every time you say whip your children with a belt, I get this feeling in my stomach. Sick fear is how I would describe it. I get a flash, blah, 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 blah. Of course you do, because you understand. Imagine who's getting the child that's getting spanked. Imagine what they're feeling like. I know what it feels like. I was raised in a certain misunderstanding. I know what that feels like. I'm going to be doing a presentation, workshop soon, called Power, Connection, Purpose. The entry into this 6 weeks Bust You Wide Open course is very minimal. You deserve this for yourself. I will make spirit, not that you need it, not that you haven't already, certain aspects of my teachings at least, very tangible for you. Keith, I'm interested in the course. Post it in this room. As I fall inside, and we are speaking about a silent killer, guilt. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? From one of your movies? Groovies. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Pale moonlight, beautiful, gorgeous, on a spring or fall night where everything is perfect, including the temperature of your spirit, provided you hear it. The moonlight, no overcast, stars twinkling about. All your brethren, all your tribe, all of your clan, all of you shining together in the moonlight. Your mother Gaia, Luna, you lunatic, you, I tell you. And it's beautiful. One of the vessel's most beautiful experiences, blissful experience he has ever encountered in this life. He will tell you, in a dreamscape scenario, he was riding on a train through the mountains, and the train was an open train. There was no cover. Bathed in moonlight. And the air was warm and beautiful. There was smells and flowers. And he did this for what seemed 10 seconds in that experience, but also lasted for hours upon days upon eons. In fact, so much eonically, he wants to go back and never leave it. Believe it. He was there to receive that moonlight, his mother, and another aspect of Gaia, another princess, which is higher, saying, I am shining my face upon you, dear one. Are you able to receive? And on that night he was. And he received so blissfully, he was without guilt. But including he, like the we, and many of you are often in that space only to entertain dancing with the devil while you're bathing in the moonlight. Right now you are bathing in the moonlight and the sunlight. The S-U-N, the S-O-N. The moonlight, the sunlight. Two polar opposites of the same beautiful self. They come together to give you an experience. But are you always hiding and feeling shameful? Well, Yanava, I don't. I'm not saying that your clothing is not appropriate, But go walk outside in mid-daylight in the middle of anywhere and take your clothes off. There's a shame involved. There's a game involved. There's a blame involved that people will point finger at you. And when you get home later, you will feel guilty about what you have done by being naked, nude, and vulnerable in front of spirit, which already knows what you look like. So where does all this nonsense come in? I'm not saying don't use your sense. I'm speaking about the nonsense of the repercussions of all that incurs about said happenings in your life. Though this may be analogous and metaphorical, it is literal in the sense that it applies to you, that if you vibrate to it, you will vibrate in a higher sense, and you will find yourself dancing in the moonlight versus dancing with the devil in the moonlight. The shame, the blame, the game, the nonsense, and all that makes you feel inferior and worthless. Why do you do that to yourselves? The vessel can tell you as he is. He's lived it and still lives it. He's getting better at it. Doesn't make him better than you. It just makes him happier. But if you are happier than the vessel because you have done more work, or simply it's innate in you, then God bless you as well. Please share that with everyone so everyone can delight on the tongue, have it on the palate, and a palette of paint to paint a whole new picture. Every saint has a future. Every sinner has a past. Let me rephrase that. Every sinner has a future. Every saint has a past. But at last, in fact, in those two understandings, those two deliveries, though it seemed like a mistake, don't forsake the irony that happens in this spin. In fact, even trying to explain to you these crucial ideas, it's crucial that you don't land yourself and plant yourself in it hoping to win it. Because what you are, to be able to ever dance in the fullness of the moonlight, full moon, naked ass. See the analogy? It requires you to get out of all the talking, even the understanding at last, into that silent place of grace, that space where there is nothing else but spirit shining upon your face. In fact, the light does not live in you. You are the light. Take full delight in this on this night, and you will shine effulgently bright as 10,000 suns, my sons and daughters. There is no what ifs and what I oughtas anymore. There simply isn't. When Keith was on that train, that open car train, riding through the landscape of India, he longs for it. Like that guilt that you think serves many of you, he forgot about it. But that unconscious part of who he is waits his return. He longs for it. He may not describe it as such, but such it is, and he wants it very much. It reminds him of all that is beautiful and liberates him. And I tell you, he will achieve it. And so will you if you allow yourself to believe it and receive it. Depending upon your wanting, and your wanting man, W-O-N, wanting and wanting, you will understand. Everything that dances around the pale moonlight that is beautiful, that does not represent beauty, is you dancing with the devil. And he will stick you with that pitchfork forever. When you should endeavor to dismiss your old dancer and be in that space. That's it. There is no guilt. There is no guilt bat. Don't go into the dugout, your spiritual baseball dugout, and look for the bat, a Louisville Slugger that you could smack on your head. It's all dead. It's all dead technology. We're moving into the cosmos. We're moving into the divine. We're moving into forever. Guilt is old world hat. It's falling into the vat that will fry your ass into hellfire. It's done. You don't have to feel guilty anymore. Use your guilt as wisdom to say, I understand. Now I'm going to stand under this thing that brings not only myself, but everyone around me joy, peace, bliss. There is no guilt. Someone wrongs you, I get it. Be mad at first. Be goddamn mad at first. Be fucking mad at first if you have to. And when you're done with that, be done with it. Alright, I milked this teat for what it's worth. I'm done with it. And then you call that said person, or send that said person a message and says, you don't have to convey to them that I forgive you, because that's really in and of itself a non-forgiving. You can just say, hey, it's been a while since I've seen you. How you doing? Lets you off the hook, and in turn lets them off the hook. And it hooks you back up again to a conscious connection, which we have all lost in the erection of bullshit ideas that have been stuffed down our throats, that have been beaten into us, and we thought we required a belt lashing in the back of our legs. You're done with that. I'm done with that. Hi, Jessica. Arjun Sazi. Kelly says, I'm scared from that as a child. And it goes on. And share this everywhere. As I said at the beginning of this, hanging out with you, how often have you heard teachers talk about guilt? Hence the reason it's time. Share this with people. You could change someone's life. We all have been indoctrinated, violated, impregnated, and infected, and injected with you bad person you. Have you ever heard of Ubuntu? It's a practice of an African tribe that when someone commits a violation, instead of them scolding and criticizing and judging this individual, the entire village, one person at a time, stands up and says what is beautiful about this person and what they have to offer to the village and tribe and what they can contribute. That's what they do. It's called Ubuntu. And me and you too, when we do this, it's not about punishment and blame and game and beat down. It's always about rehabilitation. It's about education. You could smack your child, smack someone across the face, or blame society all you want. And guilt and punishment. Or you can educate someone that what happened when this transpired made me feel like this. And then it creates the opportunity for someone to say, oh my God, I had no idea. You go to a clerk in a Walmart and they're being a nasty individual and you respond to their nastiness. When you leave, they're never going to see how nasty they were to you. They're going to see how nasty you were back to them. But when you go to that said clerk and they're being nasty and you say, you know what? I hope you have a beautiful day. It's okay. We all have tough days. When you leave, there is no greater teacher than they are left with. They're left with their conscience. They're left with themselves. Remember that. And they too will remember that. And they will remember. The member of who they are, they will re-it. They will remember into a conscious whole being. Consciously become that whole being yourself. And in holy being, you free yourself. You simply free yourself. Remember, Guilt serves the soul, S-O-L-E, S-O-U-L. Guilt serves the sole purpose to help all of us remember that we are in poor choice mode. You don't have to feel bad for being in poor choice mode. Just see that you have been in poor choice mode. It will get you out of all the episode. I love you beyond measure. It is my pleasure to be in the treasure trove of that spiritual grove that you and I often play in. In the eternal divine sandbox as your cosmic brother, I will forever meet you. I love you.